Hello, Internets. I'm Joe.
I'm Eric.
And I'm kind of catch 'em all.
And you're listening to Just Cool Enough, a show where Joe doesn't get to hear about how my wink went because he started the broadcast too soon.
Well, I'm so sorry, Eric. Why don't you talk about how your week is on the podcast?
Well, because that would really disturb the narrative.
Okay, great. That's what I want to hear. Perfect. So, and that's true. If you want to disturb the narrative, you can go to justcoolenough.com/live, join the live chat room. There are people there right now, and Birdkeeper Eric in the live chat room says Ike never joins us in chat. And that's true. He doesn't.
It's true. And I probably won't.
You're on the show. You can't just go into the chat room in solidarity with the listeners that show up every week at 6:30 Eastern Time and join us in the live chat room?
No.
Okay, fine. Anyway, if you want to email the show or participate in the show, you can, like I said, as in the aforementioned plug for the chat room, or you can go send us an email to the show at justcoolenough.com. Again, that email address is theshow@justcoolenough.com. And also, we have 2 emails this week.
I'm trying to keep this 451 drowsy that showed up. I'm just kidding.
Oh, no. You
Not
can't
really.
play Pokemon.
I put down a lure. I put down some insights. Anyway, this email says Just Game Enough 2.0. This is from Ethan. We haven't heard from him in quite a while. He says, "Hey guys, it's been a while since I wrote the show. Now, I must admit I haven't touched this project in months, but I recently decided to emulate some of my favorite NES games, and I rediscovered my love for Legend of Zelda. I've completely changed the art style from the JRPG to the classic SNES style, see attached image, but the problem is I can't really decide between a real-time combat system or a turn-based one. More details and a demo soon. Ethan. P.S. Ike's sprite is on the top row and 3 across on the spreadsheet."
So we get to see Ike's sprite. I hope Ethan allows me to... Ike, you look good. You're bald in this sprite, though, so maybe when you go Super Saiyan in this game, you can have your blue hair.
Yeah, maybe. Or green hair, because that's what color it is.
Bye. Or green. Special guest Sarah in the background.
What? I didn't see that. I wasn't paying attention.
You missed it.
That's your problem.
Yeah.
So
like a whole lot of you problem.
No, I'm excited. So we are still. Someone still cares enough about our show right now. Ethan, in fact, Ethan is making a game in his spare time, and it happens to have Just Cool Enough in it, and we are part of it. So I'm super excited about this. What do you guys prefer? Do you prefer real-time combat or
kind of the I like the turn-based.
Eric, what do you think?
I'd have to see it in action. You know, it looks like he's making one of those RPG Maker games, and I've never really played one that was like, real time. So I don't know what that would entail. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel
what
like
that system's capable of doing.
Yeah, I feel like I would rather have a turn-based game because then there's more room for like funny flavor text. So. Ethan, I'm not telling you how to make your game, but I would prefer a turn-based game. I'm going to play it either way.
We all would.
Yeah. So, thank you, Ethan. I appreciate the effort, and I can't wait to see at least a demo. Maybe Ike can go Super Saiyan and make his hair blue or stuff.
It's green.
Grow a sausage tail. I don't know, whatever you want. We have another email.
We do. This is from one of our not short-time listeners. Anyway, this is from Eric. Eric says, "An email." Anything is the actual email. That's what it says, is anything, period. And he said, I asked for this in the Booty Show Wars from November of 2014, and he was sorry for the delay.
So this Eric is actually going through and listening to our back catalog of podcasts. By the way, this is episode 338 of Just Cool Enough. If this is the first one you're listening to, first of all, that's amazing. Second of all, how did you find us? Tell us.
I do remember that show. I was like, please email us anything. Literally, you can email us the word anything, and I would be happy with that. And he did that, so I appreciate that, Eric.
It's like I'm really there.
He won't know that I appreciate it because he's still listening to backlog stuff. But when he gets to this point, he'll be like, oh, yeah, that's right.
Maybe Bugkeeper Eric in the chat room can tell Eric that emailed us. But that's I'm glad that Eric emailed us because I wanted to plug our back catalog. We have an awesome back catalog of shows, and we even have some old shows that are, like Max Speed's actually on Shout Engine. So if you actually wanted to listen to some old Max Speed episodes, catch some really retro stuff, go to shoutengine.com/MaxSpeed. Maybe I'll put that in the show notes. Maybe not.
I had somebody tweet me that they missed Warcraft Anonymous. I'm like, well, you should come listen to this show because it's like the after show.
And then somebody goes, well, I don't still need to listen to you at that point. I had a conversation like that with somebody on Facebook, and I was like, they're like, man, I miss Max Speed. I'm like, well, guess what? We do another show called and he's like, yeah, I'm not really into it. I'm like, oh, okay, thanks, asshole. We have one more email that I thought was hilarious. Since Ike hasn't logged into our email in so long, we actually got a verification notification saying like, your Gmail has been accessed from Fall Rivers. So I'm glad Google's keeping us secure. Thank you, Google.
Well, it's because I've been logging in. Because I've been logging into Pokemon so many damn times, and it's been sending me emails being like, you logged in from a new phone on Pokemon. I'm like, no, I've logged in for the same phone I was just on before I got kicked off Pokemon. It's not a new phone or a different phone. It is the same phone. By the way, here, Niantic have access to all of my emails.
There you go. See? That's how it goes. Gentlemen, if you want to be part of the live chat room, justcoolenough.com/live. That's where you go. It's provided by Alpha Geek Media. Alpha Geek Media is a premier provider of all the things that have to do with video and podcasting and nerd culture. And go check out all the shows on there. And special guest Sarah walks behind me. All right. Thank you, special guest Sarah. So... Let's get into it, guys. I wanted to front load everything so we could just talk Pokemon this show.
What's Pokemon?
Pokemon. It is a I don't really know. I was actually hoping you guys would know what this big craze is. The kids these days. By kids, I mean people that are in their 30s almost, and
or are in their 30s.
Right. So Eric, let's go with you. How was your week?
My week was pretty good. A lot of stuff happened in it that I don't feel comfortable talking about on the podcast.
Okay, so it's Pokemon related.
Yeah. Jeez, Eric.
Some of it. I can talk about Pokemon stuff because
bad at like a human. It's just ridiculous to me sometimes. Like we all have things. We all have things that happen, and we don't have to talk about them on the show. We can talk about other things. But you're just like, oh man, there's just so much going on.
He was going with it until you interrupted him.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was doing. And until you were like, oh, what is wrong with you? Or like, I was like, I don't want to talk about one thing, but I'll talk about another. And you're like, oh, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, that's it. Now I'm the asshole. Okay, now that that's accomplished, keep going, Eric.
As if you're never not the asshole. So I picked up Pokemon Go like everyone did, and I was complaining last week because it's supposed to launch during the show, and I kept like updating Reddit over and over again, hoping to see it live, and it just never fully went live, and until after the show, and then I finally managed to get it downloaded, which was great. And I've played it a bit. I haven't played it as much as many other people have played it, but Sunday night I rolled up to the Nerdist to do improv like I do, and like ton of people were there fucking playing it. I remember Saturday I was in the middle of a sketch meeting playing it, and then Friday I actually, because I just got on a house team, and I was walking from my car to the place where we were having our first sketch meeting, and I caught a Nidoran in the parking lot of this guy's apartment building, and then then somebody else was like, who I did not expect, my buddy Jackie was like, oh, there's a Nidoran here, and I was like, oh, so it's like that was my first real experience. But Sunday rolled around, and I was playing and people were like, I was like, I'm gonna go to 7-Eleven to get something to drink because I've been here all fucking day, and someone was like, yeah, let's all go and catch Pokemon, and then we made it like half a block to just to the end of the street, and someone was like, ooh, somebody just dropped a lure here. We have to and so I was like, yeah, but I'm fucking. So I continued on, but they met a bunch. There were already 4 people we did not know there, and then my buddy Ryan said he went to the lure, and then somebody drove by and honked at him and waved, who we didn't know. I was just yeah, we're all here. It's really connecting people. It's weird as fuck.
It is, and it's connecting normally people that may have not talked before. Like no, it unintroverts people for whatever reason. I think it's like, oh, you're into the same thing I'm into. We're friends, kind of. We're acquaintances for sure, but maybe we could be friends later. So
I've actually heard of like stories where people are like, oh, I'm an introvert and I don't leave my house ever, but now people are leaving their house over this game.
yeah, it's absolutely people are in a frenzy, and that's the word I've been using to describe it. This thing is just taking over. I think what benefits where we are at. I mean, Eric's in like the second most populated city in the U.S., so
Yeah, it's
you're in a good spot. I live on a college campus for U of M, University of Michigan.
there were
Which is
two
a
gyms between my apartment. They're just far enough of like literally at the ends of the streets. Like I'm like on my block. There's two gyms.
right.
Unfortunately, I'm too far away in my room to hit either one of them. I'd have to like move 500
Walk to the
feet.
other side, yeah.
But yeah, and there's like Pokestops like all over the place and stuff like that. I was actually kind of upset because I went to improv practice at my buddy's place in Koreatown, and in like the block and a half I walked from where I parked my car to his place, I found no Pokemon, there were no Pokestops, and there wasn't a gym for like 6 blocks. I was like, what is this dead zone in Koreatown? Fuck this noise.
Maybe, yeah. Why even go there?
Yeah, I almost quit the team
most
outright.
Seriously though, you go there and have some of the best bubble tea you can have in the country. That stuff is legit
Sure,
there.
great.
I recommend doing it at 2 or 3 in the morning, and then
Yeah.
watching all the very expensive cars pull in all the restaurants. Anyway, yeah, I'm in a similar situation where 1 block away there's a gym, and within 10 minutes walking distance there's like 5 or 6 other ones, and I didn't realize that I was in such a prime spot until I just went closer to where my mom and dad live, and I'm like, oh, things are a little bit further apart down here. This kind of sucks. So I'm in a pretty good location for it, and there's definitely a discrepancy between people that are out there in the sticks and then people that are by all these Poke stops and gyms and everything like that. I felt like I came in there and I'm like level 14, and I was like, oh, you silly Pokemon people, let me show you. And I just went into a couple gyms and like wrecked house, and then left.
I shall be your new king.
Yeah, but it was kind of crazy because I've been getting up really early in the morning and doing my run and walk and everything, and Pokemon Go has been a part of it now, except I can only play Pokemon Go on my tablet, so I have to hold my NVIDIA Shield while I'm running. I look ridiculous, but what's happened is there's kind of like, I've been running around this neighborhood for the better part of a month and a half, 2 months or so since I've moved in, and I'm noticing like all these new people out in the morning at like 5:30. I'm like, what the hell are you guys doing? This is supposed to be my time. Get out of here! You're ruining my time. This is like you're totally ruining it. But it's been really great because the people that get up that early are super dedicated to the game. So I've just been getting all these knowledge bombs, just like, oh yeah, don't do this. Make sure you use your lucky egg at the right time, and oh, you can actually twirl the ball. You could do a curveball, and so it's just been really great talking to these guys. And I basically I went from like level 11 to 14 in like a half hour because of the tips they were giving me, and it all had to do with the lucky egg trip. Search it up. So it's been absolutely great around here.
So the question is, Joe, what level are you?
I'm still I just got level 14 today.
And Eric, what are you?
I just hit, I think, 6. Like, I'm not very high along, and I haven't done a gym battle yet. Like, that's how, because I have not been playing as much as I should. You guys are, I'm sure, much bigger experts.
And so the real question is, before we move on, is the important question I'm sure everyone wants to know is, what team are you guys?
I love this question because everyone knows the team that I'm going to be on. It has to be the red team, Valor. It just makes sense for me.
Yeah, they got a cool Phoenix logo, so I went with Valor.
I went with Valor too, but I was like, I wonder what my fiance would pick, and I was like looking at the description, like she'd like the cuddly feely ones. I'm like, I'll go red, and it just happened to be that most of the places where I live are also red, so it worked out.
So, and this is all of us we all ended up picking Valor for different reasons. Because I picked it because I had red version, and I was like, oh, I like the color red. I had red version growing up. I'm picking red because red is cool, and I like red, and red's great. So that's why I picked it. I picked it for his fiance. Why did you pick it, Eric?
It's got cool Phoenix.
It got a flaming chicken. It's like a T-bird, or not a T-bird, a Trans Am. Yeah, it's just like a Trans Am from the '80s with the jean jackets and the guy with the loud music. I love it. Yeah, Team Valor. That I guess this podcast is now brought to you by Team Valor.
Because we just lost half our
I know. Now we're gonna have to do a show
Valor trash.
Yeah, get out of here. I only talk to instinct people. Well, have fun talking to no one.
No one. I saw a great GIF today. It was or GIF. It was like the bird from Valor from Pokemon, like the animation. So all breathing fire. And it was the really cool bird from Team Mystic, and it's doing its blue thing. And then the third one was a clip of Big Bird wandering around on stage, walking into boxes and like knocking shit all over, looking kind of drunk. I'm like, yeah, that about describes it.
It really has been absolutely nuts, and I didn't realize the scale of what this game is. And I want to get into the gameplay and everything. But what really sold it to me is I walked into just a small little restaurant here on the outskirts of Ann Arbor, and it was probably 15, 20 minutes before they were going to close, and I just came from a party where pretty much half the people were playing it. And I came in, the people to my left were talking about it, and they happened to be on Team Mystic, and I was like, oh man, that sucks, you picked the wrong team and everything. And then, but then they're like, yeah, we're battling for this gym right now, and I'm like, oh man, they're taking away a Valor gym. The person's gym, who the lady behind the cash register was like, hey, don't attack my gym, that's my gym. And then these two other women walk in, and I'm like, these people are not Pokemon people. They're not playing Pokemon. And they walked in, and they kind of looked around, and they're like, are you guys playing Pokemon? Because we just got, we're like, what's going on? Can you guys tell us what's going on with it? And so they're playing. Everybody, more people in this little restaurant were playing it than not playing it. And the odd man out was like, I guess I got to get on this for right now. He just kind of got peer pressured into it. So I thought that was really, really fun. Have you guys been using the artificial intelligence? Have you been using the augmented reality feature of this game?
But I want to tell a story before you got into the game.
Oh, please. No, go on.
My massive story for this week that came out of this, which blew up.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, this is a good story.
So it's like it's Sunday morning, and Amanda had gotten a lucky egg. So I'm like, hey, I've invested $40 in this game. I'm not going to invest much more than that, especially until once they work the bugs out. But like, they put out a decent product, and I've gotten a really good amount of use out of it. So I was like, I'll toss some money their way to support it. So Amanda's like, I got a lucky egg. I was like, you want to see a good way to use that lucky egg? Because this is before we realized like you save up all your Pidgeys and blow them all on leveling. I'm like, let's go to these three Pokestops. I'm going to put down a lure at each Pokestop. And these Pokestops are close enough that if you sit in the middle one, you can tag the two outside ones just by sitting there. So I put down 3 lures in a row, and people just started coming out of the woodwork. Like, walking down the street, pulling over in cars. Like, some guy came from, like, 4 towns away. He was like, I was passing by on my way from wherever. And he's like, I saw the 3 Pokestops. I had to come over. And, like, he was there. And so, we all start chatting. And then all of a sudden, a police officer pulls up. And everyone's like, oh, crap. And the guy gets out, he's like, hey, you guys play Pokemon? I'm like, yeah. It's like, he grabs his phone, he runs over, and he starts playing with us. And we're all just sitting there. And so I snapped a couple of pictures of him. And then he came over and stood next to me. And I was like, hey, I know, I don't want to get you in trouble. I'd love to be able to post these on social media, but I don't want to get you in any trouble. Do you mind? He's like, no. He's like, it's great. It's community policing. We're out there with you guys, and like, this is a great way to interact with the community. I'm like, I totally agree. I just didn't want to get you in any trouble. So he's like, no, go ahead. So I ended up posting, for those people watching the video, I ended up posting this picture on my Twitter account, and I tagged the city, and I tagged the city's police department, and they it got a bunch of likes and whatnot and got picked up, and apparently the police department the chief ends up calling the officer in the photo. Was like, hey, what's going on with this photo? Like, this thing is like moving. We're gonna put it on our website, on our Twitter. But like, what's going on? He's like, oh yeah, I pulled over for to see what was going on. They were playing Pokemon. I figured great opportunity for community relations. I can't control who takes pictures, so the picture got taken and got put up. I'm like, well, we're gonna put it on our Instagram or on our Twitter. They put it up, but they didn't give me any credit for it. Instead of retweeting my tweet, they just took the picture and then posted it under their own. So this thing explodes across the East Coast. It's being picked up by CBS Boston, WRPI Rhode Island. It's getting picked up by BarstoolSports.com. And all these places are giving credit to the Fall River Police Department for taking the photo. And I was a little upset because I'm thinking, like, I put in the work, and like I take pride in my photography on my phone. And so my fiance went to bat for me. She was up till 1 a.m. that morning, tracking down every single place that she could, even when I was like, listen, it's really not that important anymore. I made it on the front page of the local newspaper. I made it on the actual news over in the main news station over Rhode Island. They finally gave me credit on their webpage. I got credit from the CBS Boston. I've watched this thing. It's gone so viral. It's reached over 21,000 people on Twitter, and I've found it in places that are
more
written.
than that, yeah. Like it's exploded onto other media sites.
And so, like, the cop in this picture. Oh, that was the other thing. I was fighting with the Fall River Police Department, trying to get to someone who could at least give me credit on Twitter, which they eventually ended up doing. Super grateful, because it made it easier for all those other media sites to be like, yep, they told us you did this. But the best part was, today I saw the officer drive by as I was out this morning looking for Pokemon, and so I called up the Fall River Police Department and said, hey, listen, it's not an emergency, but I really want to talk to this officer and just see, because he had a few things in the local newspaper where, like, he's like, my cell phone's been blowing up. And so he ends up calling me back, and I was talking to him about this picture. He's like, yeah, man. He's like, my friends over in California have called me. They've seen this. I know it's on Imager. Like, this is making the rounds. And he's like, people have been reaching out to him. He was thinking about starting a hashtag Pokemon Go Pokemon Cop, or Pokemon Go Cop, and I think I ended up putting that out there on Twitter earlier. And it turns out, I mean, yesterday I was also looking for a possible DJ for my wedding next year, and it turns out this guy's a DJ, like a professional DJ.
DJ Police.
So I told him, I was like, hey, listen, I'm looking for a DJ. Maybe this could work out with something else. So, yeah, he's a really cool guy, and we got a really good chance to connect today. And so he's also been going around telling people he's been taking the picture.
So, I mean, if you see a cop, make sure you catch a Pokemon with them and hashtag it Pokemon Go Cop.
Yeah, and you'll be all set. But, yeah, it was so. If you happen to see this picture out there as it floats around the internet, at least take the time to know that you know who did this picture, because I had talked to somebody a long time ago who was like, watermarking images for amateurs. Like, you don't need to watermark your shit. And I was talking to one of my professional photographer friends who was like, watermarking is everything. I was like, I heard it's kind of for amateurs. He's like, no.
These days, like, people, they go out of their way. They crop that shit out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I didn't want to
sneak it in there.
I didn't want to slap it across the thing like, some of those websites do who don't want you to steal their photography, but he's like, you have to watermark things like this. And I'm pretty sure, to be honest, if I had watermarked it with my name and put it out there, I'm pretty sure at one point it would have gone out, and like Eric pointed out, it would have gotten cropped out, but it would have saved the front end a little.
You gotta get really slick with watermarks, because the coolest way I've seen it done is like not in the bottom right corner, but in the automotive world, like Motor Trend will put in the bumper where you won't really notice it unless you're looking for it, or right like near the license plate, or where you think badging would be for a vehicle, they'll just put motortrend.com or something like that. So it's kind of like an Easter egg to find the watermark. I often do that. Yeah, man, that sucks that you didn't get credit for all over the place, because like this. It definitely has reached into the millions.
I was told that this morning at 8 o'clock, one of my friends hit me up on Facebook and said, I saw it on CNN on TV.
I mean, the reach of this photo is vast. I know that you're not like a glory hog, but it does suck when you do something and you don't get credit for it. So,
Well, so when it was on the local stuff around here, I was like, oh, I really want my name on it because I mean, more to the point, it was that this speaks to community policing, people getting along. Like, there's a really great message behind it, and I didn't want to get it diluted with like, hey, my name should be on this photo. But like a few of the local outlets was like, this is important for me to kind of at least if other people are out there like looking around and want to, a photographer or whatever, I could get my name out a little bit. But
So,
then
I mean,
Amanda was like, I will track down every last person that put this someplace if you want. I'm like, it's really, at this point, not that important. I'm having more fun. I know, I hate to be the day that somebody picks on our kids.
Oh,
she's going to go tear someone a new one.
She's
but I've had more
already
fun
like
watching
mother. Yeah, she's
totally
mother bear mode. Yeah, she's totally like going to bat for you. This is why she is a great fiance and going to be a great wife. I can't wait. That's great. The crazy part about this photo, though, have you looked at the photo with any sort of a fine-tooth lens? Because there's a funny shirt and our chat room noticed it. Bugkeeper Eric, who's quickly turning into an all-star here. So join the chat room, see what Bugkeeper Eric is linking.
I'll put this back up here on my little screen.
So, Eric, did you see anything
weird?
Anything
kind of weird
weird
about this? Anything that sticks out to you?
Yeah. Oh no, it totally sticks out. I mean, that officer clearly did not properly clean. His shirt is a different shade of blue than his pants. Like, I don't know if that's if that's regulation, but that's something.
No, close. Really... Definitely close. Not quite.
So, the interesting thing, as you point out, it happens to be this guy's weed shirt.
So did anybody else bring this up? That there's a guy standing right next to the police officer.
Standing behind the portly gentleman with all the maple leaves on his shirt.
They're the Canadian maple leaves, right? The Canucks, the maple leaves.
Yeah. That's not it. It's definitely a shirt that has weed all over it.
There's more to shirt. There's more to the story than I care to.
He's like, no, it's tall grass. It's tall grass. This isn't weed. This is tall grass. So let's settle down, everybody.
I will share the rest of the story with you guys after we get off. There's more to this picture than meets the eye after all was said and done and pictures were taken.
They're being booked. Okay, cool. But I can't wait to hear that. Thanks. Maybe you can write a post on Just Cool Enough and give the listeners the clip notes. So I want to get into the gameplay and kind of break it down a little bit about what makes the game fun, what's going to be the staying power, what features should they add. But first, I want to plug shoutengine.com. You could start your own podcast. You could talk about Pokemon Go. Start a Pokemon Go podcast today for free at shoutengine.com. All you need is a microphone, an internet connection, and some sort of computing device. I've seen it done with iPhones. I've seen it done with Android devices. I've seen it done with an old computer and a microphone. You just
but Joe, it takes so long, doesn't it, to make to do that?
Well, Ike, what if I told you it only takes 5 minutes or less to start a podcast?
5 minutes?
People to listen
no way.
In less than 5 minutes. It's amazing. I bet you. How much do you think this would cost, Ike?
I would say something like this has to cost at least like $60 or $70.
Well, what if I told you if you act now, you can get 2 podcasts for exactly $3.99? Operators are standing by. Go to shoutengine.com. So yeah, thanks for that was a fun little ad read. Yeah. There.
I think we should call up that guy. We could do those commercials that show up late night. We could do that.
Yeah, I love those late night commercials. I watch those late night commercials during the day. That's how much I like them. All right, let's talk some games. We at Just Cool Enough, we all met each other playing World of Warcraft, and for whatever reason, yeah, right. I have a World of Warcraft feeling right now.
I've got a feeling
with this game. Am I being nuts?
I think you are.
Okay.
I'm not sure it's.
Explain what the fuck you mean by that, because that doesn't make sense.
The excitement around the game right now, and I know the excitement has to die down. It's an unsustainable amount right now, but the fact that there's a community around this game that has instantly popped up, and there's already a lot of dedicated people, even with the servers crashing, in the updates to the game that are coming, the promises, there's just a lot of community around the game that reminds me of the early days of World of Warcraft, and I think I mean it's already a huge success as far as making money per day in in-app purchases. So yeah, that does that. I don't have a concise point. It's just a feeling, you know.
I guess it makes some sense. I'm not sure it's going to have like clearly the staying power because it's an app, but I can understand your community point that you're making. I mean, just going down to some of these Pokestops and seeing, there's one down here at the battleship that we have in Fall River where anytime you go after 4 o'clock, there's anywhere between 30 and 80 people standing around playing this game.
I see people all the time walking with their phones, just every day, just people walking on their phones. The difference is now I see it and I hear the fucking Pokemon noise. I see people walking in groups. I see people talking to each other that don't normally talk to each other. It's a very strange thing.
Well, so the company that makes the game. Oh gosh, why did I forget it? It's
Niantic or Niantic.
It's
Niantic.
Niantic. Oh, okay. So that company made Ingress, and
Yep.
Ingress was a game that it was basically geocaching with the interface, and they essentially made a simpler version of that game with Pokemon in it, and it has obviously exploded. We're talking about it now. Everybody's talking about it. Businesses are using it to increase their business, and people are talking to each other and getting outside that don't normally.
Oh yeah,
get outside.
I remember this game. I think Kyle from the Donut Boys, Kyle McCarley, famed voice actor now in all the animes, sent me an early beta invite for this game, and it was all it was geocaching, and you had to go around physical places and attack people, and I was like, yeah, who's got the fucking time for that? But you slap a fucking paint of Pokemon on this shit, and I'm all for it.
It's all about the branding. They found the branding that works.
Well, and so they're not noobs to this market, right? And I really wish I remembered how to pronounce this name, but Niantic?
Well,
I think it's Niantic.
Let me tell you, it doesn't matter.
You're right, it doesn't. But so they actually were a Google company and got spun off into their own thing to make Ingress, and Ingress was in its own right very popular. Now that we have basically a Pokemon skin over it, it has gone crazy. Why do you think? What makes the popularity?
It's
what makes it so
recognizable.
popular? Yeah, is that it?
Everybody knows what the fuck a Pokemon is, even if you don't know what the fuck a Pokemon is. You've heard of it.
It goes a step beyond that, and you started talking about it earlier before I cut you off with my story, that it has the ability to do augmented reality within the phone. And I think this is my first Pokemon game I've ever played. We've talked about that on the show before, and I'm starting to learn a lot of these Pokemon. But with this augmented reality, I think what you're starting to see is a lot of those old Pokemon players used to picture, this is how I could see the game being played. And now they have a chance to turn on augmented reality, go out in the world, and actually throw the Pokeball. So they're kind of getting to live out these fantasies that they had about originally playing the game when you're just looking at a kind of a 2D screen.
I agree. Yeah, I had a conversation with a buddy about the idea that augmented reality is a much cooler idea for gaming than virtual reality, because virtual reality you put on a thing and you're isolated and stuff. But the idea, I think it was last E3 or 2 E3s ago, Microsoft did that press conference about augmented reality goggles that they were building, and there was that it's all fucking stage shit. None of it was actually playable, because nothing on that stage ever is. But the guy playing Minecraft in augmented reality, looking at this table on stage and playing Minecraft, that is more appealing to me, the idea of this augmented reality thing. Well, being able to put on some glasses and see some shit that's not actually there, playing that is more of a future than I'm interested in than just VR.
Right, I think it's going to be very amazing, the next applications of augmented reality when we do have actual just maybe we just have a gaming headset and everybody goes to a park and you're playing a paintball game or you're playing a shooter or you're using swords and do. Could you imagine LARPing with augmented reality and people are taking damage?
I've talked to one of our friends, Ryle, about the VR headset using things like the Vive, and there are actually people out there who are buying up space like in warehouse space to do things like this and start putting that into practice. And I could totally see it going. And I agree with Eric. It would be much cooler, I think, to do a Google Glass type deal where you have it kind of interfaced right into reality.
No, I just wish that I can put on a set of glasses right now and see the Pokemon universe overlaid into my actual world. I think that would be great. And then I can, because it's a very casual game, right? You can have it up and still pay attention. Unless you're driving, don't drive and play Pokemon, for God's sakes. But like if you're walking to a place, you can be immersed and also.
I did hear when I was walking to get a sandwich on Hollywood Boulevard, and I heard somebody catching a Pokemon in their car as they drove by, and I was like, "You fucking asshole!"
Seriously, it doesn't matter how good you are at multitasking. No one's good at multitasking. Stop it! You're gonna kill somebody. I mean, but this is the one thing that I'm very impressed by is the breadth of players, because I've seen everything from complete total 10 out of just amazing looking women that I wouldn't think would be playing this Pokemon game playing it. I've seen me playing it. I've seen it's totally blowing up the stereotypes that I have in my head. And
the fat nerd with glasses
right,
who lives
yeah,
in their parents' basement.
Yeah, it is. It is reaching a wider. I have noticed that because there's like me and my shitty friends playing it, and then you'll see. I did see a group of a couple of girls, and they were all on their phones, which is seeing a couple of girls walk down the street on their phones is nothing new. But as they were walking, I specifically heard one of them say, "Oh, I just got an Ekans."
Right, yeah, and see, that's the crazy part. It's actually, and I think this is my own personal dumbness, I will say. When I was in high school, I was just like, girls don't play video games because whatever, it just wasn't part of my...
Turn the fucking
right, I'm just a dumb idiot. Exactly. So
some people have defined their Twitter persona around not my Ghostbusters.
Exactly, yeah. So when I'm seeing this. I'm seeing people that are reliving kind of childhood adventures, playing Pokemon on their Game Boy, but it's came to real life. And I've seen people of all ages. I watched a guy pull over on this Harley, like this badass-looking dude. It's like you are in the Pokemon universe, because in the Pokemon universe, I always thought when you're playing this Game Boy game, you're sitting there, you're watching Pokemon happen, and you're like, oh yeah, like a biker would actually be, a Pokemon trainer, whatever, Oh yeah, like a chef would actually be a Pokemon trainer, like a bug catcher would actually be. But I'm seeing these freaking people in real life play. I watched a guy in a Harley pull over, catch a fucking Pokemon, and drive away. I'm like, holy shit, that was biker Pokemon trainer. Holy shit!
There was this text.
You're super nerd. Holy shit! This is happening.
I saw this tweet from somebody, and I wish I remembered who it was, because it was like a retweet of somebody I didn't follow. But it was like a screenshot of a text message from his mom, and it says, "Are you out there catching Pokemon?" He's like, "This is all I've ever wanted for my life." Just that he's out catching Pokemon, and his mom's sending him letters just like in the fucking game.
Sorry about his dad and everything.
See, I've seen the memes on the flip side where it's like, kids like, sorry mama, he texted his mom, sorry mama, got home late last night. I didn't mean to disturb you when I got home at 2. Oh, what were you doing? Oh, I wasn't doing drugs or partying or anything. I was just out catching Pokemon. Mom's response, I almost wish you were doing drugs or partying, because then I might be less disappointed.
Yeah.
See, and that's the kind of bullshit I don't like, but that's funny. Hopefully it was
you can do both. Saturday night I was at this bar we frequent after shows, drinking my ginger beer. And there's a Pokestop right next by. So while we were talking, and I was surrounded by people drinking alcohol, I was constantly, flipping that Pokestop every couple of minutes, getting them balls.
On Saturday night, Amanda's brother's band, Sick Vita, was actually playing at the Palladium in Worcester because they were trying to play the Warp Tour. And the Palladium just happened to be a Pokestop as well. So not only am I flipping, but when they weren't playing, I invested a few bucks and started putting lures in, figuring I could distract people from the other bands. Wow. Just like and so people are like, oh man, this one's a Pokestop and it's a lure. This is great. I'm like, yeah, it's awesome. Keep paying attention to your phone and not to the other bands playing.
But that's actually the thing that I really enjoy about this is right now this game is crossing barriers. I've seen everybody from super nerds to meatheads playing this game, and it makes me so happy to see so many different kinds of people interacting. Like your photo, Ike, you got a black guy and a cop right now. And at this time, in this country right now, like we need photos like this. We need things that are going to bring us together. And I think if AR, or if artificial reality and some fucking Pokemon... Augmented artificial... God, I'm just ruining this. But yeah, so if AR is bringing people together, I love it. I really do. I think it's an amazing technology. This is the first real application of augmented reality gaming that has exploded.
That's worked really well, yeah.
Right, and it doesn't even work very well, right? And people are still playing it. And I'm so excited to see what's next. I'm so excited to see what's next for this game, but this opens a totally new... It basically is ushering in a new realm of mobile gaming, social gaming, and that's my favorite kind of gaming. I hate playing games alone. It's the most boring thing ever. I love playing games with other people. I love being out there exploring the environment. This is perfect.
Amanda asked me the other day, she's like, is this anything like World of Warcraft? I'm like, I mean, it is. This is like an MMO on crack. And
I would say, yeah.
And she's like, you should go play the other Pokemon games. Like, I don't want to play the other Pokemon games.
Yeah,
like, but if you like this one, you like the other ones. I'm like, no. But one thing that really attracts me to this one is that there are other people I can interact with, and in this case, it's actually in person. I don't have to show up to some raid and interact with people's avatars.
And the worst... Well, I would say the correlation between this and World of Warcraft would be that it's pulling people in that didn't normally do it. Because I think that was what World of Warcraft did so well, was it got people who didn't play MMOs. That's why it always did better, and still, even though it's like in massive decline, is the biggest MMO out there, because its player base is people that never played MMOs before.
And that's why Ingress was popular in its own right for what it was, but this is the mega hit that was needed in order to bring this technology into the forefront of society and say, look at what can happen when we get together. And is this do you call it? This is an MMO game. This is a massively multiplayer online game.
It is.
And I think that's also the other thing that gives me this really great World of Warcraft-y feeling and vibe is there's a lot of excitement, and I know that it's going to die down. It has to die down. This is an unsustainable amount of excitement, and that's fine because then the servers will clear up and I'll get to play in peace, right? But I can see myself playing this for a long time. I'm excited. It makes me more excited to go travel to other countries to see. I'm like, well, I wonder what kind of Pokemon they have in Japan. I wonder what kind of Pokemon they have in Germany. You know, like what about Ireland? Maybe I should go back to Ireland and catch up some Irish Pokemon. I don't know.
That would be really crazy though if they did implement a system where it's like Pokemon, where the different generations are in different countries, like they are in, you have to travel to fucking Southeast Asia if you want to get all the Heart Gold and Soul Silver. That's Southeast Asia. That's
You got to go to, if you want Crystal, you got to go to Antarctica. Oh man.
Ruby Sapphire. That's definitely Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
The other thing I think you mentioned earlier when you were sitting in that diner restaurant watching people play this game is that I've definitely gone around and been like, what team are you? Oh, you're team blue or yellow? And for a split second you're like, yeah, you're trash. But no, really, and then you continue on, it's just people playing. On one hand, you're like, haha, yellow poking fun at them.
Right,
but
yeah.
At the same time, when it comes down to it, it's like, oh, well, what are some of the things that you've caught, or how have you been doing, or what are some tips and tricks? And the teams are nice, but at the same time, I haven't seen anybody overly oh, you're team.
I am sorry to disappoint you, Ike.
Are you going to be one of the few that I've come across who have been like, well, I've had a really bad experience, somebody's looked down upon me because I'm Team Red?
No, so what
Or
happened?
are you the person to look down upon someone for being on the other team?
So this happened today. I was by a gym, and like I said, I'm in a really good spot, so I've been able to level up pretty quickly. And I went down to a place that was a little less populated, and I was just stomping on people on gyms, right? And it just so happened that this blue team took over a red gym that I was planning on, or a yellow gym that I was planning on picking up. And I was like, oh man, but they were still there while I pulled up. So I pull up in my black Saab, me and my brother, and these two kids are looking over at us, and I'm looking over at them, and we kind of looked out at us. We rolled down the window. We're like, Team Valor, yeah! And then rolled up the windows, laid the smackdown on their gym, and then they like looked at us with their hands like up in the air, and like we waved by. I honked my horn, and I peeled out of the parking lot. So I'm that.
Yeah, but you weren't actually like talking shit to them
No,
about
we
being
weren't.
like, that's still
shit.
friendly.
It was very friendly, and we waved, and I mean, like we all had a big smiles on their face, and they were disappointed that we just took their gym away. Pretty much, they never got anything out of it. But it was pretty great for me and my brother. We were just like, oh yeah, slap hands, high five, this is amazing, and drove away. And that experience and that excitement in real life, this is what I've been looking for in a game. I'm so excited, and I don't know if the excitement will last, but I'm excited right now, and I want to keep playing it right now because it's giving me these really precious moments with people that I care about, and maybe it'll even fold into we can make more friends with it. So.
But tell me if you had this experience, because I know first it's the people that are going to hear about this were the people that were really into Pokemon. So the first couple days, like even Amanda said to me, she's like, "Oh man, I'd really like to try Pokemon Go, but I got nobody to play with." And that's what I was like, you know what? I'll try it. Whatever. It's free. Whatever. Right. And so that's right. That hooked me right there because the first Pokemon I caught, I was like, "Hey, this is kind of cool." And like, but the first couple of days, it was definitely like. It was more like an elevator conversation with people where like you go up to like a gym or a stop and like other people are standing there and they look at you and you look at them, but then you don't make eye contact because it's really fucking awkward. And now that we're getting into where it's like, hey, as Eric pointed out, like people of all sorts are starting to play this. It's more like, hey, what are you doing? Oh, I'm just going to drop in on this conversation, like shoot the shit. It's been less about the elevator conversations, but it definitely was very kind of like, oh, yeah.
I sent 20 Team Valor stickers and pins to my mom and dad's house, and I'm going to put them on the bottom of my tablet so people can see, like, hey, this is I play Pokemon Go. This is my team. I like the Flaming Chicken, and you and I we might be enemies, but we're really secretly friends. Like it's kind of like the Horde Alliance thing for Warcraft. Okay,
but
yeah.
Now you can actually talk to the other faction.
Right, yeah, instead of just cack, like maybe that's how we should start talking to the other people.
Cack for lol.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, I mean, the game has been great. What do you think of the gameplay, though? Have you guys gotten into the gameplay at all?
No,
I've... Go for it, Eric.
No, I haven't. As I said, I haven't done any gym battles or anything. So I've flicked some balls at some Pokemans, and that's about it.
I'm level 20, so I've been playing way too much, and there have been points like in the car when we're going over 20 and we're driving down the highway. I like to turn off augmented reality because it's hard in the car to be turning around, so I play. But now I've almost found it easier.
Your wife is driving, by the way.
No, she's usually playing while
almost
I'm
driving. Your soon-to-be wife is not. You are. I just want
to
be
not driving and playing at the same time.
Good.
Because we don't like car accidents. But I'd have to say there have been points that I've been really frustrated where even when the augmented reality is on or off, where you go to flick a ball and like it goes wide, and I'm like, I know I flicked it straight because it starts straight, but like the virtual reality wind takes that ball and throws it. And you're like, man, like I've wasted like 15 or 16 balls on a Pidgeot today.
Oh my gosh.
They were ultra balls that I used because I'm level 20 and that's when you get them, and I just blew through them all in this one Pidgeot, and I was kind of upset about that.
You blew your ultra balls on a Pidgeot? Oh my god.
He was like 800 plus.
Oh, okay, nice.
So I was sitting there and like he was just taunting me, and then there's been other times today. It happened today where I go up like a cliff. One of the Clefables, and I'd go to throw a ball, and like they smack it
Clefables? Is that something I don't know? Clefairy?
Yeah.
Clefairy, that's what.
Okay, okay. Oh, like
Well, the
sometimes
Clefable's the evolved ones, I believe.
Okay, there we go. That makes sense.
So
Yeah.
the Clefairy, the Clefable would bat it away. So I'd throw another one immediately, but it would bat it away. I'm like, I don't know if this is just programmed every time I flick it, or if I'm just catching it wrong. And
So
then
there's a technique. This is
spiral.
well, yeah. So you got to throw a curveball. You take your Pokeball and you put your finger on your Pokeball and you bring it over to the left-hand side of your screen or right-hand side of your screen, and you just give it a little twirl, right? A little wee wee wee, and the ball actually gets spin, and then you have to arc it in to the little hole at its smallest possible moment, and that is a guaranteed shot that you can get, especially if you're using any sort of the nicer balls.
Or you can just. I honestly haven't found that any more effective than just holding down the Pokeball, waiting for the circle to get smaller, and then flicking it straight.
Yeah, and I was trying to experiment with that actually today. The 20s, and I haven't met anybody over level 20. I don't know if that's max level. I know there's still an
Well,
experiment.
I'm 20 and a half, so.
Yeah, right. But I've met a few people that have been 20 for days, and I'm wondering if they're just limiting people so people don't get too far ahead. But yeah, they all say like.
I'll tell you tomorrow.
Right? Good. But that's what's really funny. So I have my early morning squad that I see in the park over here, and they're just grinding out their Weedles and Pidgeys in this nice little spot that we kind of taken over in the mornings, and we're all jogging around and running around, and then somebody's like, yelling from across the park like, "There's a slowpoke over here!" I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like, run over here!" Oh, it's gone, But the gameplay is very simple, and I think that right now that if the gameplay, do you think it's enough to sustain the game, or what do they need to add to the game to keep it a success and keep it going, Eric?
Well, I mean, they've already said that they're planning to add battling, or not battling, but trading. That'll be a big part. Being able to trade, because that's a big part of Pokemon.
Do you think though that'll ruin the economy of the Pokemon economy? So everybody's just like, well, I got 151 or whatever the number is at this point. I'm done. I know if they opened it up to more, because I don't think it's actually all the originals. I think it's like 100 or something, and they're going to be parsing out different Pokemon in like expansions. I'm putting that in quotations because I don't know what, just updates. I don't know.
I don't know.
How if I know? Why?
As I said, I haven't really played as much as you. So you're like, what features do you add? I'm like, I don't know. You should be able to battle. It's like, you can do that already. Oh, you should be able to, I don't know, maybe like all those eggs you catch, you should be able to hatch them. Yeah, you can do that already. Oh, okay.
Like, what about you? You have more experience than I do in the game. What can they do to improve the gameplay, or do you think it's good enough?
So I think I've been playing around with some ideas the past couple of days because I heard that they're adding trading in as one of the things. I'm like, okay. I mean, that was one of the things that, as I understand it, never playing the original games, that was kind of a staple, like being able to trade with other people, especially as they started putting the newer versions out where you could connect to wire and trade. And I'm wondering what that's going to do to people. Like, oh, I just started my game and my friend gave me a level blah blah blah, broken level Pokemon for my level. But I think it would be cool. And then I was like, well, wouldn't it be cool to also be able to see, kind of like you would in World of Warcraft, other people walking around, but maybe have a feature where you could turn it on and off, so that way you're not causing safety issues. So people, I know people in this house play Pokemon because I can see two people with active phones. But maybe it's like, I'm out in a public park and I'd like to fight against you and just have a Pokemon battle between you. So I turn my avatar on, and you turn your avatar on, so we can see each other and then be able to interact with people in that.
Yeah, like friends lists. That would be an interesting thing. Like being able to just add you guys as friends, or my friends who I live near.
Could you imagine you get in within 2 steps of somebody and then you automatically are fighting them if you're flagged for player versus player combat? Like, you walk by and all of a sudden both of your phones go oh shit!
They could use a very similar system to what Hearthstone uses, because that works off of, like, at least if you're on Wi-Fi or whatever, it's like, oh, these people are close to you right now. So if they're not people on your friends list, but you're sitting in a cafe and you want to play them, you can at least play people that are nearby. Maybe implementing something like that so that when this is active or whatever the case may be, you could play with someone within 2 feet, 3 feet of you. And or 3 steps. I don't mean actually literally 3 feet.
Yeah, 3 feet.
Yeah, they have to be right next to. Maybe that is the case.
Brady in the live chat room at justcoolenough.com/live says Ditto and the three birds Mewtwo are the only ones that are not in the game of the first 150. So there's only a few there that aren't in there. So 3 birds, Ditto, so 4 birds, and a Mewtwo, which is a science experiment gone wrong. So yeah, we got there's quite a few out there. Yeah, I see that like I've been saying, it's unsustainable to have this much hype for this long. How long till it dies out? What do you think?
I don't know.
I think by December it will start to cool down.
December. Oh wow,
December.
I'm saying way before that. I say before
Yeah.
the end of this month.
Well, but I don't even necessarily agree with that because they're going to end up releasing the band that goes with it, and it's going to re-spark this a little bit depending on when they release it. So I could see it riding out till December on the kind of the wave that it's on, and maybe getting a little more momentum once everyone has the ability to actually purchase those little wristbands.
And I believe it's only out in the U.S., Australia, and Japan at the moment. It's a very limited release. I know Europe doesn't get it yet, and I don't think South America gets it. And I don't know if
They just don't get it, man.
You just don't.
Europe just doesn't get it. Anyway, if you guys have some thoughts on Pokemon, or just want to send us an awesome Pokemon tweet like what was done on Twitter here, where Eric, there's a Rattata in your bed right now.
Oh, is that?
Yeah, go check it out.
You mean a rat-a-tat, not a ricotta cheese or whatever the fuck you're talking about?
Ricotta.
It's ricotta. There's some ricotta in your bed. You go check it out. And remember the name, Team Valor. That's my calling card, ricotta. Anyway, so go check out our Twitter account. Sometimes we retweet.
You should just name all your Pokemon after cheese.
Well, I do, but you leave Mortadella out of this.
I belong to the Team Valor Red Pokemon Go Massachusetts group, which was started by some of my friends at college. Is now about like 400, 500 people big. And they're a big Boston group, but they started making T-shirts. They have red, Massachusetts in red in the background, and then they have the big flaming bird, and then they have the outlines of the people, and it says Team Valor, and they put on it, I think, hashtag Make Team Valor Great Again. That seems to be our catch line, is hashtag Make Team Valor Great Again.
I don't want to do it. Was already great. Why are we doing this? By the way, I know Mortadella is a lunch meat. I just want to make sure that it's just a bad joke. It wasn't.
Nobody was going to give a shit.
I'm just saying. I just don't want to go. I don't want to go down on record.
Not a person was going to call in or email and say, "Hey, what the fuck."
Well, if you did want to email, you can. The show email is theshow@justcoolenough.com. Again, the email address is theshow@justcoolenough.com. What do you think about Pokemon Go? Are you playing it? Do you hate it? Are you sick of hearing about it already? Let us know your thoughts. You can also follow us on Facebook. Go search us up on Facebook. Just Cool Enough is our name, and podcasts is what we do.
Is our game?
No, I didn't want to rhyme it. That's cliche. I don't like cliches. Anyway, Eric, are you ready to take us away?
All right, let's stop talking about this Pokemon horse shit and start throwing Pokeballs.
Let's throw some balls at each other.
Yeah, my plug for this week, I guess I will plug a buddy of mine, Matt Keel. He's an awesome animator and just a general funny guy. Did this great thing called Game of Thrones cartoon, Sorty and Ned. It's basically Game of Thrones reimagined as a Saturday morning cartoon, but in his very, very weird sensibilities that makes Matt Keel awesome. And he put it up on YouTube, and it's weird and funny and hilarious like he is. So that'll be my plug for this week. Game of Thrones cartoon, Sorty and Ned.
So my plug for this week is how to cheat in Pokemon Go. Go check out this video. It's actually a very even-keeled video, and it explains how people are going to cheat and why people are going to get banned, and also it approaches it in a very mature manner. It's also by my favorite tech video site and blog and community, the Linus Tech Tips guys. They do such a great job for hardware and software reviews, and they've branched out so much. So go check out their video. It's How to Cheat in Pokemon Go. Watch the whole video. It's a pretty even argument, and I'm sure people will still go give it thumbs down on YouTube because YouTube. Ike, what do you got to plug this week?
I'm going to plug this picture right here of this Team Mystic meetup. I think it is perfectly accurate. For those of you who can't see it because you listen to the podcast version, it's a picture of a bunch of blue recycled trash cans all standing around. It says Team Mystic Meetup.
Oh my gosh, Ike. That's a terrible plug. And we can still see your background.
Yeah, you can have my desktop. That's cool.
Wow, that's Ike's desktop right now is sun, moon, stars, everything.
Yeah.
There you go. Thanks for listening, everybody. I hope everybody has a really safe and excellent time playing Pokemon Go. And maybe by this time next week there'll be another game.
You know what, Joe?
What?
Cubone. Bone.
Oh, but the Cubone's mom and everything. Oh, what about the Marowaks and all?
Hey, fuck you bringing that shit up.
Why? Why do you? Cubone's the most depressing Pokemon in the entire
he's the best
game.
one.
He's like fills the town of Lavender Town.
Joe,
like
Joe,
think of it.
Joe,
think of Lavender Town.
Joe, but answer me this: Cubone, bone. You don't got an answer.
No. What would you? Yeah. Gengar. Thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for doing the live chat room, guys. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye now. Bye bye.